Director Schenk,
Here.
Chair Richards, Director Camacho,
Present.
Vice Chair Miller, Director Perea, Director Escutia, Director Williams, Director Worth, Director Cohen,
Here.
Assemblymember Carrillo,
Here.
Senator Gonzalez. We have a quorum.
The board must receive an update and provide direction to start in closed session on pending litigation matters for which time is of the essence. This motion must be adopted by a 2/3 vote of the board, or if less than 2/3 of the board members are present, a unanimous vote. We have at least 2/3 of the board members present, and therefore 2/3 vote must be sufficient. Our vote is sufficient to adopt it. Is there a second to my motion?
Second.
Okay, we got multiple seconds. We now need to take a vote, actually. All in favor? Or hold on, go ahead.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Chair Richards,
Yes.
Director Camacho, Vice Chair Miller,
Yeah.
Director Perea, Director Escutia, Director Williams,
Aye.
Director Cohen. The motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a confidential closed session to confer with legal counsel on pending litigation matters listed on the agenda. We will now go into closed session and will report out any action taken in closed session after we've finished. And with that, we will see you shortly. The board apologizes for the lengthy closed session. However, we completed the work that we had intended, and I'm going to ask our chief counsel to identify or to read the action taken by the board in closed session.
Thank you, Chair. The board considered the merits of a proposed settlement change order with Dragaitos Flatiron DFJV, the CP23 design build contractor, to resolve pending disputes and adopt a new schedule. The board voted in closed session to authorize the CEO or his designee to work with authority legal counsel and to take all steps necessary to negotiate and finalize an appropriate settlement change order with DFJV up to an amount of $537.3 million, consistent with the staff presentation in closed session. Finance and Audit Committee will exercise oversight and report back on changes not contemplated in that presentation, and any material change in terms will come back to the board for approval. The vote was 7-0 with Director Cohen abstaining. That would adjourn the special meeting, Chair.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, that adjourns this special meeting. We will now take, we're going to skip the 5-minute break, but we will now close the special meeting. And welcome back. We are now calling to order the January 21st board meeting, and ask our secretary to call the roll.
Director Schenk, Chair Richards,
Here.
Director Camacho, Vice Chair Miller,
Here.
Director Perea, Director Escutia, Director Williams,
Here.
Director Worth, Director Cohen, Assemblymember Carrillo, Senator Gonzalez. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And we'll ask if we could, Assemblymember Carrillo, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States. To the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Assemblymember. And ladies and gentlemen, today, with regards to moving into our public comment, we're going to take the Zoom comments first. And Mr. Secretary, please advise the public here and on Zoom how they can address the board this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin public comment for the California High-Speed Rail Board of Directors meetings, I would like to review some important information. If you are joining the meeting via Zoom and wish to provide public comment, please use the Raise Your Hand feature located at the bottom of the app. Speakers will be called on in the order their hands are raised. Once you are in the queue and your name is called, please click the prompt on your screen to allow your microphone to be unmuted. If we have any callers joining by phone, I will give instructions on how you can make a public comment following the Zoom participants. For members of the public who have joined us in person and wish to provide public comment, you will be called up in the order we received your card. All speakers will be given 2 minutes to speak. I will remind you when you have 15 seconds remaining. When it is your time to speak, please slowly and clearly say your first and last name, and if applicable, please state the organization you are representing. We're going to begin with the Zoom commenters. Our first speaker is Carter Lavin, followed by Paul Wormer.
Great. Can folks hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. Hi there. So my name is Carter Lavin. I'm an Oakland resident and the co-founder of the Trans Bay Coalition. We are an 11,000 member grassroots organization of transit supporters throughout the 9-county Bay Area, calling in to start the year with a simple message for you all. We want the project built as soon as possible. Pick up the pace and be more assertive in advocating for what the project needs to be able to move forward faster. State lawmakers right now are drafting new legislation to make California a better place, and I sincerely hope that the authority is working with multiple lawmakers on multiple fronts on policies that would enhance the project in multiple ways to speed up delivery and lower costs at the same time. We should not be just asking for one thing and putting all our eggs in one basket. There's a lot of people throughout the state who support transit and better projects. We should be pushing on that. At the same time, I hope you have a robust set of asks going out to each and every county board of supervisors and every local jurisdiction the project goes through, from San Francisco to Los Angeles. As the federal government current administration shows itself to be no ally to the people of California in this vital project to connect and transform our state, it's crucial that the authority get clear and frank with its ask at all levels of government in California. That at the end of the day, this is an amazing project. We absolutely need it. And it is your responsibility to help people understand why it's taking so long. And yes, we need more funding, but there's a lot of other policy fixes and other things that could be changed that would make it easier for you all to operate and deliver the project that we are so eagerly clamoring for.
15 seconds.
Thank you very much. So to start the year, I just want to remind you, go a lot bigger, go a lot faster. We're here for it and we're excited for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Paul Wormer.
Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Good morning, and I should say my name is Paul Wormer. I'm a resident of San Francisco, and I think Carter addressed a lot of the issues. I would like to explain why I think this is so important. My wife and I recently had a very pleasant trip from San Francisco down to Claremont, California, entirely by rail, a couple of short segments by bus. And the views from the Coast Starlight were beautiful. The views coming back on the San Joaquin were fascinating because I got to see the construction sites of the high-speed rail. And that was really something. What I compared it to were my experiences on the Eurostar train from London to Paris, travel in Japan on the Shinkansen, and riding in Italy on the Frecciarossa, all of which had marvelous views, but there was one significant difference. They actually got me to places in a timely manner, competitive with flight. We
15
really
seconds.
high-speed rail as soon as possible, and I urge you to do everything possible to accelerate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our Zoom participants. We're going to move to our in-person speakers.
Supervisor from Merced County. Good morning, Mr. Supervisor, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the authority, CEO Chowdhury, Josh Pedroso, Merced County Board of Supervisors. On behalf of the Merced County Board of Supervisors, we appreciate the California High-Speed Rail Authority's continued engagement with our region and its commitment to advancing a transformative statewide transportation system. As the authority evaluates a potential change in the Merced Station location from downtown Merced to a site in southern unincorporated Merced County, we wish to express the county's conceptual support for a thorough and collaborative review of this option and inclusion in your upcoming draft business plan. Merced County recognizes that station siting decisions are complex and must balance system performance, constructability, long-term operational efficiency, environmental considerations, and regional economic outcomes. The proposed southern Merced County location presents an opportunity to examine potential advantages related to land availability, construction feasibility, multimodal connectivity, and regional access, particularly for residents throughout the broader county and neighboring jurisdictions. We believe it is appropriate to objectively assess whether this alternative may better advance the authority's goals while still delivering meaningful benefits to the Merced region. Merced County values the importance of ensuring that any station location supports access, stimulates sustainable economic development, and integrates effectively with local transportation networks and land use planning. Again, thank you for your commitment to strong communications. The communications have been phenomenal since the last time I was here, and I really appreciate that. Merced County stands ready to work collaboratively with the California High-Speed Rail Authority, and we appreciate the authority's partnership. We look forward to continuing conversations with your team as this important matter advances. Again, thank you for your ongoing communication. It was rough at first, but now it's turned around, and one of my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors made the comment that, you know, he's been on the board for, I think, almost 8 years, and he's talked more about high-speed rail in the last, 4 weeks. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're happy to be working closely with you as we have in the past. And I believe also we have Mayor Serrato from the city of Merced.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Good morning, Chair Richards, CEO Chowdhury, members of the board. Great to be here. Thank you, as always, for allowing us this opportunity. Again, I'd echo many of the comments that my colleague Supervisor Pedroso made. We have enjoyed, I think, over the past few months, a great relationship with the authority and all the communication, both with CEO Chowdhury and members of the staff, also board members as well. Thank you, Mr. Perea, Mr. Williams, everybody else who's met with us. And again, a huge thing that, you know, I've seen, I've felt, I've learned from our community over the past few months is how much we care about this project, how important it is to the city of Merced, and how there's deep support in town for it. We had recently at our council meeting, we had a very thorough, robust discussion on the potential of moving the station, or the possibility of moving the station from the planned location in downtown Merced to a location in southeast Merced. We had a great discussion. We're going to come back again on the 27th of January, relatively soon, to complete that discussion. So at the initial meeting, not getting ahead of our council, but I think there's a majority of council members who expressed support for the move. However, a number of council members wanted to continue thinking about it and discussing it a little more too, and conducting more outreach to the community, because it's certainly a big change for us. And when it comes to our downtown, our general plan and everything. So it's just a lot for us to work on, but I anticipate another good discussion on the 27th and a vote potentially on supporting that project. So again, thank you all for everything you've done. I've come with, if you recall, my colleague from Livingston last time came with donuts. I don't come with donuts, but I came with 2 props. One's kind of a...
We're pretty disappointed, actually.
Yeah.
I know. I'll sit down. But this, we'll bring these next time. This is Stacy from our COG, our Association of Governments, will like this too. This is a hat from YARTS. This is Yosemite Area Rapid Transit.
All right.
Regional Transit, sorry. And the Merced has a bus system, YARTS, that connects to Yosemite. Both stations, and in particular, I think a proposed Southeast station, will have a wonderful connection to Yosemite as well. So it'd be a great opportunity for Yosemite ridership. And then also too, on my phone, I took a picture of an article that hangs in the city manager's office. Probably hard to see from here, but it's a Merced Sunstar article, a historical article about Merced. And there it says, railroads shaped community. So way back when Merced was founded, it was built around the railroads like so many other of the Valley cities. And I think this is the modern day expression of that, which I think would really help our town, a lot of valley towns, and really help the town grow. So thank you again for all your continued work, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Mayor. And we invite both you and the chair, Mr. Pedrosa, to join us often.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chairman, if I could just briefly thank the mayor and the supervisor for coming today and their words, but I really want to thank CEO Chaudhry and his team. They've done some fantastic work in Merced.
Yeah, and I'd like
Thank you.
to call out Peter Whippy on that, who's been down there and engaging. And Peter, good job. Thank you, wherever you are.
Just wanted to echo that to you, Peter.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to echo the same thing. What a turnaround, and what a turnaround. Thank you very much to High Speed Rail team members, and also
Yeah,
to my
thank you,
fellow board
Anthony,
member,
and thank you, Henry.
Anthony Williams, for putting in the work. So thank you very much for coming. That's wonderful, and to High Speed Rail.
Okay.
Next
Back to
public
you,
comment
Secretary.
will be coming from Frank Quintero, followed by Pete Varwa.
Good morning, Mr. Quintero. Welcome back.
Good morning, Chair Richardson. Thank you very much. Again, my name's Frank Quintero. I'm the Deputy City Manager for the City of Merced. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I think Alice Rodriguez from your staff said it best when she said, I miss my family. It's been a week. And that's how often we've been communicating with High Speed Rail. So thank you to Mr. Whippy and Mr. Tollefson, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Gomes, and Mr. Turin. They've been outstanding in working with the city, the county, the Association of Governments. We've had 8 meetings. 2 were with our council. Very much appreciate the visit from Mr. Perea and from Mr. Williams online. All are just strengthening the partnership that we see is just developing. Lots of decisions still to be made on what it will take to complete high-speed rail, the land use, the engineering, the planning, et cetera. And I feel that we're getting there. We're definitely on the right path. We look forward to reading the 2026 draft business plan and just continue to state, as you've heard from Supervisor Pedrosa and from Mayor Serrato, let's continue to build on this partnership. And Mr. Chaudhry, thank you. Your staff has been fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quintero.
Next up is Pete Varwa, followed by Eli Archia. Just like to remind everyone to speak clearly into that microphone.
Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on behalf of small business. That's my passion. And I've spoken before about it, Board of Directors. There's been tremendous changes that we have seen on various different events in Burlingame, and there was a pre-bid meeting in Sacramento, which had made it an opportunity to meet some of the prime contractors and engage with them about subcontracting small business. I've been serving on Small Business Council for High Speed Rail, represent the construction committee, and it's our charter that we want to make sure that many of the smaller business gets an opportunity to participate. With this said, I have prepared a one-page document for all of the Board of Directors will be shared with you, and I think this provides a roadmap to meet and exceed some of the goals that you have, work out for you, and it's doable. And as I was looking at today's agenda, and there's a remark by Derek Botone from Chief, and it talks about the social impact on hiring small businesses, creates a lot of jobs, creates wealth in the community, and it builds families and gives an opportunity for small contractors to send their kids to school and do that. That's what we're here for, and that's what we want to do. And I wanted to thank you again for making those changes, that the words are being heard from the small business, that the changes are being made. And now is a great time to 2026 to take it to the next level. And I hope that you can work with us to get it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is Eli Archia, followed by Laura Uden. Apologies if I'm misspelling or mispronouncing anyone's name.
Good morning,
No
Ms.
worries.
Garcia.
Good morning, CEO, Chair, and Board of Directors. My name is Iyari Archilla. I'm a small business owner from Terrabanta, and I appreciate you accepting my comments today. The reason why I'm here is because I want to bring to your attention a small structural process issue that is affecting currently small businesses and micro businesses that are currently participating in high-speed rail. Small businesses and micro businesses that do not have yet fully audited FAR 31 compliant indirect cost rates are still required to compete under the same rules as large established businesses. This creates a disadvantage for small businesses. It reduces their cost recovery rate and increases their compliance, even when the costs are reasonable. For the agency, this causes inefficiencies while maintaining low risk, low contract dollar value contracts. Some of the peer agencies are already adopting some flexible processes that eliminate this burden. I really encourage the board on high-speed rail to look into processes that are already existent within other agencies that not only help small businesses, but that also maintain accountability and reduce the risk. This is not about lowering standards. This is really about scaling processes that allow small businesses to participate, to continue providing services, and that match the risk and the dollar value of the contracts. As somebody mentioned, small businesses are the backbone of the economy. If we allow sustainable, scalable processes for small micro businesses, it will help the communities, but it also generates more competition, which at the end helps the agency as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up is Laura Uden, followed by Stacy Guzman.
Good morning, Ms. Uden.
Good morning, board, and thank you for always having us here and letting us speak. The public comment's very important. As you know, I've represented small businesses on the program for a decade on the Business Advisory Council, and I've worked on the program since 2009, so longer than a lot of people. I'm speaking today on behalf of my firm and the dozens of other firms that are potentially being impacted by some financial issues that are happening right now to us. Hillary spoke about some of that. We're basically, the businesses on high-speed rail, the small businesses are facing a financial trifecta that could take us out. And I want you to be aware of that. It starts with 3 projects being put on hold with 24 hours notice. That was M2M, LGA, and the stations contract. We've been waiting for 6 months to find out whether we're ever going to get work on those again, but that was a significant loss of income, and for some firms, all of their income. The second thing that's happening is that with the political and economic environment that we're in, which is not the fault of this authority, of course, it's very difficult to get work with other agencies. People are putting projects on hold, as were some of the projects that were originally announced a year ago for the high-speed rail. Then the third issue is that we've had a recent financial audit on some of these projects, including one that I'm on, that has required significant repayment back to the authority. In some cases, it's because a firm hadn't established their indirect cost rate. In some cases, it's because the PPP loans meant that any expenses that you would have paid with those funds had to be removed from your indirect cost rate. And this was something that, you know, only large primes were really aware of in most cases. So with all of this, we're being asked to pay back significant funds. Most of us stand ready to try to figure that out, but we're also being told that there's not going to be any payment plan allowance at all, that we must pay it all back immediately. And you need to be aware that that is likely going to bankrupt many firms. Some of them have lost all of their business because the projects were put on hold, and now they're expected to pay back tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars immediately. It's not possible. We ask the board to work with the authority to find a solution that is reasonable and possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Stacy Guzman, followed by Keith Dunn.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Guzman. I answer to them all. I am the executive director of the Merced County Association of Governments, which the way we're structured, we also serve as the Transit Joint Powers Authority for Merced County, and as Mayor Serrato mentioned, the Yosemite Area Regional Transportation System. It's hard to follow those three gentlemen, and I will try to be uncharacteristically brief, which they probably will joke at when I'm done. But I have spoken to this board before, shared comments, largely virtual, most recently after the release of the supplemental report back in August. At that time, I had felt compelled to express my frustration with the lack of communication and what the effect of being blindsided really had on partnerships that had been really critical. So the decision to drive up today was to again speak on communication, but in a much more positive note. Since August, as you've heard from two of my board members and a colleague, there's just been significant improvement in communication, not just in frequency, but in quality, in the types of meetings we're having, the types of conversations. It really has started to feel like a partnership. The authority staff have been staying in touch with me, with everyone who has spoke from Merced today, meeting with us, meeting with local elected officials at the city and county level. It has really been a change in the partnership, and we look forward to this open and collaborative work as we move forward. And lastly, I'll just say I want to use the last few seconds to underscore that Merced's number one priority is that Merced Station remain in the initial operating segment of the project. We look forward to seeing that commitment preserved in the business plan next month. And just want to thank you again and reiterate to all of the staff that were mentioned, Peter and Mark and Diana has been very involved, and Bassam and just and Alice. Everyone has just been really exceptional. And I know Mr. Chowdhury has spent a lot of time with our folks as well. So just thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Final speaker will be Keith Dunn.
Good morning,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. It's always good to follow my friend Stacy and everyone. I want to really just take a moment to highlight the fact that we've got the Bay Area and the Central Valley agreeing, which, you know, for those of us who've been around California, it doesn't happen often. I also have been talking with the mayor of the city of Palmdale so we can bring in Southern California that everyone agrees we're making great progress. We're making great progress. A lot of that has to do with the high-speed rail team, and you've heard from the Central Valley folks that not only your board, but also the staff professionally are really investing that time to build that partnership. And what I'm hearing from them today and what I know about the Central Valley is we're not just building a rail, we're building an economic lifeline. By the way, I'm here on behalf of the State Building Construction Trades Council as well, the District Council of Iron Workers today, which I forgot to mention, but we're building not just a rail line, we're building an economic lifeline. It's not just in the Central Valley, but you're hearing it's also connecting into the Bay Area. And I'm sure that the mayor of the city of Palmdale would say the same thing. It's critically important that we take this momentum, this fantastic momentum that we had with the Cap and Invest extension that happened in the fall, and Assemblyman Correa was extremely involved in. We thank you for your leadership. And look at the other types of changes and authorities that we need statutorily to make sure that we're making those investments count. There are a number of them, utility relocations, some other opportunities that we have to make sure that those dollars that are limited are being spent in the most appropriate way. So I hope that we can take this collective synergy throughout the state with your help and guidance and make sure that we're communicating with our legislature to get those changes, to make sure that those limited dollars are going to build as quickly as possible. As you heard from other folks today, we need to be taking the chance now to do as much as we can sooner than later, because those dollars become less valuable with every day that passes. So thank you to CEO Chowdhury and his team, to your board for the communication you're doing with the Valley. Let's build that economic lifeline. Let's continue to make progress and get the changes that we need regulatorily so that those dollars go further. With that, I say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have no other attendees that would like to provide public comment at this time.
I do know we have the mayor of Palmdale here. Mr. Olson, would you like to address the board? And welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. This high-speed rail project for the city of Palmdale is a necessity. It's not just a good idea. It's not just jobs. We are the highest supercommuter in the country. New York City is second to Palmdale. 90 minutes each way for our commuters. That's early mornings and late nights that parents can't be with their children. And when you have unsupervised children, they get in trouble. So it's a it's a public safety issue for us. It's a matter of national defense. We've got Plant 42 in Palmdale and congested roads that make it difficult for those employees to get in and out. We need to come up with alternatives. You are doing that, and we will stand by you and fight with you every step of the way because it is a necessity to our city. What you're doing is revolutionary. I say California is in the middle of a transportation revolution, and Palmdale is at the center of it. So I'm here to show you our support and our commitment to you, and whatever you need, we're not just a champion, we'll fight with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for being here.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for visiting. And I am a super commuter. And I want to thank you for reminding us all that the project, we don't talk enough about how this project, what it would do for the quality of life for Californians in so many ways. And we need to be able to hold that vision as we move forward for families and for individuals. It positively impacts every single person in this state and really across the nation. And so thank you for coming here today and so briefly, but importantly, reminding us all of that. And thanks to everybody in Palmdale. Hang in there.
Thanks,
Mr.
Emily.
Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, I just add on to that. The fact that we have a major and important city, county in the northern part of the state and a major and important city in the southern part of the state coming here today at this point in the project is an indication of the progress that we're making and the confidence that I think a lot of people up and down this state have. That's earned. It didn't just come. I hope we continue that and again replicate the hard work that's been done to build these partnerships throughout the state. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, Mayor, and all of you for being here. The only other thing that I will say too is that we also have federal stakeholders who have been very much engaged in watching this. I've had multiple meetings both in Washington and here with Congressman Adam Gray, from Merced. There are eyes on this and important stakeholders who are very much engaged. So I just also want to acknowledge that even though he's not here physically, he's very much paying attention and engaging with us on this.
Okay, so maybe I'll say one other then, because it would be remiss not to, had it not been for two people. One, sitting to my right on our board, our director, Lynn Shank, who as a U.S. Congress member was the person who introduced high-speed rail legislation for the first time in the United States. And secondly, let me also say in the state of California, had it not been for now Congress member Jim Costa, we would not be where we are. He championed this at the state level, while Lynn at that point was also representing at the highest levels previous governors of the state of California. But he was directly responsible for the legislation that puts us here today. And so thanks to Jim Costa also. With that, thank you. And then are we done now? Okay, we'll move on to the first item on the agenda. If we can have a motion for approval of our, thank you.
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Director Schenk,
Yes.
Chair Richards,
Yes.
Director Camacho, Vice Chair Miller,
Yes.
Director Perea,
Yes.
Director Tia, Director Williams,
Aye.
Director Cohen.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is the, let's try 2 first. We have the CEO performance metrics criteria. There has been a subcommittee last year and this year composed of Director Williams and myself who've worked on the metrics with others for this year. And I'm going to ask Director Williams to give us a brief presentation on the metrics for the CEO bonus.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this, for the second time for our current CEO, we are presenting to you the recommended metrics for determining whether the CEO will receive their performance differential for 2026 in the amount of $25,000. This board previously established metrics last year. The CEO was provided that that differential. So we have updated them to reflect current goals that the authority has, that the state has for the project. And as you said, Mr. Chairman, these metrics were developed in consultation with a number of stakeholders, but also other board members, and you know, an understanding of kind of where we are in the project. I do want to add that we did get some late input from some very key stakeholders. So I have provided to staff by email some edits to what is currently in this item that I'm going to do my best to read for folks to understand. And I apologize that these came late, so we were not able to have this printed out for you, but I'm going to read them slowly and I can repeat them for anybody who has any questions. So we will basically, and they've been emailed to staff to update the document, and a final document I think should be sent to all board members once it's completed. But I'll do my best so that we can move forward with this item. So let me just go ahead and read those into the record here. So under the second group of metrics under procurements and requests for expression of interest, we're adding a bullet that will read, finalize acquisition of all remaining necessary parcels. So that's an add to that section. Under construction milestones, we're editing the first bullet to read, prioritize actions to 1, conclude CP1 and CP23 by the end of 2026, enabling timely track laying, comma, and 2, complete all remaining civil works. We are adding a bullet to that section that says complete remaining guideway mileage. And the final bullet under that section will read, initiate track laying between Madera and Shafter.
Say that again. And you're deleting the railhead prepared?
No, that's staying.
Say
Yeah.
that third bullet point again.
The last addition is initiate track laying between Madera and Shafter. Under the bullet, under the category titled Leadership and Management, we are adding a bullet that will read, ensure appropriate utilization of governor's appointees to the authority, including involving them in all key decisions and processes related to their roles. I can repeat that if anybody wants that repeated.
What does that mean?
It means ensure appropriate utilization of governor's appointees
to this board,
to this authority, to the authority, not to the board. I'm sorry if I said that. Appointees to the authority. So staff members who are appointed by the governor to ensure that they are included in all key decisions and processes related to their roles.
What about appointees appointed by the legislature?
The legislature doesn't have appointees to
They
the
don't have-
authority. This is to the authority, not the board.
Yeah. It's not the board members. It's just.
Again,
it's-
just because I may have
it's-
misspoke.
Got it.
Yeah, it's management level.
Yeah, it's
appointees.
it's to the authority, not
Yeah,
to the
we're
board.
good.
It's the staff roles that are appointed by the governor. So that includes,
I get it.
Yeah.
My apologies. Thank you.
Do we vote to
include this or
Yeah,
are we?
Yes,
I want-
yes, these will be included in your vote.
Yeah. And then the last addition is coordinate, and this is under leadership and management, coordinate with the Office of the Governor and the California State Transportation Agency leadership to develop and implement an updated long-term plan. Again, staff has these edits in an email that they just received about 20 minutes ago. And I'm happy to answer any questions of the board.
Read that last one again.
Coordinate with the Office of the Governor and the California State Transportation Agency leadership to develop and implement an updated long-term plan.
How does that differ? How does that differ from the business plan? That effort.
Well,
Coordinate with Office of the Governor. Is that the only difference?
What does it mean? I mean, if we submit a business plan to the legislature,
right,
and that's our plan,
right,
goes to the governor too. So what are we going to coordinate with them on?
well, I think what it means is both with respect to the business plan and the project update, that there be ongoing dialogue and coordination and communication prior to finalizing and submitting drafts and submitting those documents to the legislature and the public. The request is to include this in the item. Yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes, it has been.
Yeah.
Underscoring that we opened up communications more between this board, its executives team, and the governor.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the governor's office is asking very clearly to keep lines of communication open and strong between high-speed rail staff, I'm sure primarily leadership, and the governor's office, which is a fair request. I want to ask, may I ask the CEO if there's anything you may want to comment on?
Staff just talked about Shafter, Vasco.
Yeah, Madera and Shafter.
So I think there is a clarification from the staff. Madera to
Wasco.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not Shafter.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sorry, can you make that change, staff? Madera to Wasco. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah. Anything else,
Motion.
Anthony? You good?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
All right, that's the presentation of the matter that's before the board. Do we have a motion for approval?
Second.
We're going to take Director Williams. Thank you. A second, please, from the vice chair, and please call the roll.
Director Schenk? Chair Richards?
Yes.
Director Camacho?
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller?
Yes.
Director Perea?
Yes.
Director Escutia? Director Williams?
Aye.
Director Cohen? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 3, which is the CEO report. Good morning, Mr. Chaudhry.
Good morning. Let me would like to start with a review of what we got accomplished in 2026 or 2025 and all the effort that we put in place to make the project move forward at an expedited way. So there's a short video prepared by the team that captures all the progress that was made in 25, and then we will talk more about what's coming up in 2026.
These are just some of the people making the dream of high-speed rail in California a reality. Each day, as many as 1,700 workers report to the 119 miles of construction in the Central Valley. These workers have already helped complete nearly 60 structures, and in the coming year, they will help us take an even bigger step toward the future of transportation. This is the Winter 2026 High-Speed Rail Progress Report. Just a handful of structures remain closed in Construction Package 1, the 32 miles that stretch across Madera and into Fresno County. Road 26 is the last remaining structure under construction in Madera County. This overpass will take cars and people over high-speed rail tracks. It's made up of 49 precast girders, and the deck itself took more than 6,500 cubic yards of concrete to complete. That's enough concrete to fill 2 Olympic-sized pools. Striping and paving still needs to be done, as well as hauling in 2,500 cubic yards of embankment before this structure will be completed. Over the summer, work began on the Shaw Avenue grade separation. The first step was realigning the road away from construction so it could remain open during the build-out. Substructure work is underway, building bents and placing concrete abutments for the structure. This project will eliminate cars having to wait at the busy freight tracks that currently cross Shaw Avenue. It will also allow cars, bikes, and pedestrians to safely pass over high-speed rail tracks. The 65 miles of construction package 2-3 is buzzing with construction work. Soon, every structure needed in this stretch will either be complete or underway. Manning Avenue in Fresno is one of the many grade separations in this section. Work is underway there on the diaphragms, which run between the girders, providing lateral support and improving stability. One of the more recognizable projects in CP23 is the Tide Arch Bridge. It crosses over State Route 43 and continues to take shape. Over the summer, the arches were poured and the formwork should be removed in the coming weeks. Forms have been striped and the arch formwork is remaining. More than 24 gigantic tub girders have been placed for the Dutch John Cut Bridge and the Cole Slough Bridge. These girders weighed nearly 250,000 pounds each and required 2 cranes working in tandem to be placed. The largest structure so far on the project, the Hanford Viaduct, is seeing the final portions of the deck being completed. The last section over the San Joaquin Valley Railroad will require nearly 1,000 cubic yards of concrete to complete it. The Hanford Viaduct is more than a mile long and will serve as the future home of the Kings Tulare Regional Station. 28 girders across 7 spans have been placed at the Corcoran Highway grade separation. Formwork for the diaphragms has begun. This project will take traffic over a canal, 5th Street, and high-speed rail tracks. Rebar is being tied and concrete is being poured on various sections of the Tule River Viaduct that's more than 3,500 feet long. This project will take trains over the existing BNSF tracks, the Tule River, and State Route 43. Work is also underway tensioning various sets of interior support cables and bars along the structure. Some signs of progress on the high-speed rail project are not as visible, but just as important. In November, the authority released one of its largest contracts ever in a request for proposals for track and systems construction. This step comes as we have completed track installation at the railhead facility in Kern County. This area will serve as the logistics hub for high-speed rail materials. Both of these moves mark a major acceleration toward track installation later this year. In Southern California, the authority also released the draft environmental documents for the Los Angeles to Anaheim project section. This release initiates the final step toward full environmental clearance for Phase 1 of the alignment. Approval for the EIR-EIS will come later on in the year. All of this means 2026 will be a monumental year for this program as the dream of high-speed rail comes closer to reality.
Just want to remind everyone to speak into the mic for our transcriptionists. Thank you.
So this was the summary of the progress we did in 2025 up to now. What we are doing going forward is accelerating further all our new procurements that are coming up in 2026. That includes public-private partnership investors that we are looking forward to conclude by May, June of 2026. 2026. Some other announcements, we continue to add key staff to the program at a senior level. So today we have two individuals who have joined the team. And I would ask them, both of them, to come and introduce themselves. First is David Bennett in our Program Delivery Services Group. He is the principal in charge, representing the PDS group. David.
Good morning, Chair Richard, High Speed Rail Board, CEO Chowdhury. It's an absolute privilege to be here. I've spent more than 40 years building major infrastructure, but I've got one mission here, and that's to harness the partners of the PDS and our fantastic suppliers, including some critical small businesses, to fulfill Ian's vision to transform California high-speed rail this year. And the reason that I'm here is because I see that drive, I see that push, I see that commitment, and this program became irresistible to me. And we are going to transform this from a big civil site to a railway this year. Exciting place to be, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Welcome.
Thanks, David. The next, we have also added another team member who is going to help us in developing our strategy and comparing what we are trying to build here in California with the rest of the world. Andrea Gursin, he has been pivotal. He's working with us on our business plan on commercializing strategies and actually bringing to light when these type of programs implemented in Europe and Japan, what was the economic impact in those countries. So with that, Andrea, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much. And it's an honor to be here. Yeah, my experience is coming from different countries all around the world, from Europe, Italy, Spain, France, and whatever, also Japan and Korea, South Korea, of course. And my experience is also as adjunct professor at University in Milano Bicocca, where also we have a center research on rail. But I work all around the world also with the International Association of Railways, for example, College of Europe and so on, to give class also about that. But also I work with several organizations all around the world and several companies all around the world, especially in the high-speed rail. So I will try to catch my experience and to come here to make real this project and also to show how it's important for the economy. Here, there's a huge economic corridor that I think is very, very important. I will help in this project, giving a benchmarking, giving idea how to attract the private, how to develop faster the project. And I will try to do that. And thank you very much for this invitation.
Help us help us with the pronunciation of your last name.
It's complex also for the Italians. It's Giuricin, but it's Andrea Giuricin. But don't worry, it's also in Italy.
Okay, hey you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Giuricin. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, first, welcome to both of you, but if I could just ask for the board, if we could get an updated organizational chart that lists out the duties of each function, but just as importantly, how they are to interact with each other, how that flows within the organization.
Sure, we can get that to you. All right. So we'll talk a little more about moving from what we did in 2025 into what's going to happen in 2026. I mean, 25 was all about strategic actions, realigning, streamlining all of our processes. During that time, in that whole year, we had foundational accomplishments. We reorganized the authority with one goal in mind, which was everyone should act that we are running a business. And we are going to be good custodian and drivers of the public funds and act like one executive team with one goal and one vision in mind, which is to get this program to fruition and then get these trains up and running. We re-engaged with the industry. We continue to do that. We did that for public-private partnership for infrastructure. Now we will be looking at what else we want to do for other P3 investors that we are looking for renewable energy. That will be coming forward this month or early next month. Strategic actions that we took We talked about that in our supplemental PUR, project update report. We updated the design criteria. We realigned how we're going to build in sequence, and we are continuing to do that. The initial saving, as we said in our supplemental PUR, was about 14 billion. We mentioned also that we will prepare for receiving all the commoditized materials. We have been talking for 6 months. While that site is now ready, it has been ready since October last year. We will be moving now into the phase where we will be receiving actually the raw material that we were talking about, starting actually in the first 2-3 months from now, once the site is up and running for to have some people who can work in that area. So that's done. We promised that in January of 2025. We got it done by October of the same year. Procurements, this was an issue that identified very early on when I came on board, that we were taking too long to contract for the smaller stuff. It was very difficult because every process was about a year long. So we implemented the multiple award task order contract, which is the MATOC that my procurement chief spoke about in the previous 2 or 3 board meetings. That is now in place. MATOC, meaning we will be having contractors, small businesses who can actually go do the work when we need it through a task order approach. That's in place. We are also looking for the next step, which is IDIQ, indefinite quantity contracts for A&E firms. Again, having companies on board so we can use the resources based on a task order and the most qualified people who have the skill set that we need without going through a lengthy procurement process. All in return, what it's doing to the program is accelerating the engineering and construction for the program. Looking at the future, of course, the biggest action we had with the support of the governor and the legislature was stabilizing the funding through the state funds, through Cap and Invest. We got commitment for 20 billion, which is $1 billion a year till 2045. That helps us in opening the doors for private investors to look at the financing against the funding commitment that state made. So we'll continue to work on expanding the network beyond Merced to Bakersfield. Merced to Bakersfield, as our friends here from Merced talked about, is the plan. That's what we're doing. We're building that, but we want to go beyond that, which is what the high-speed rail is all about. It is all about connecting Southern and Northern California. That's the goal. That's what public wanted. So that's our focus is going to be going forward. Construction milestones. So 119 mile is where we will be start laying tracks. That is our CP 1, 2, 3, and 4 combined, 119 miles. The progress we talked about in the video, so I'm not going to go through every item on that, but land acquisition wise, we are almost done. Hopefully by the end of this month or early next month is 100%, so we can move on from any updates on the right-of-way acquisition. The 119 mile, what does it mean to us? That we will start laying tracks from the already completed CP4, CP23. We will move towards that, and it will come into CP1. So complete track laying that we are planning to do by 2030, 31. Here is the most important part. We do have to launch the other civil packages to get to Merced, and then where we have the railhead at Vasco, we have to build those civil works and then continue laying tracks there. What the objective for my construction chiefs and everyone now in the authority is to make sure that these contractors who have been working with us for a very long time, they complete all the work necessary to allow them to lay tracks. There will be other works like protection walls between freight railroads and high-speed tracks that will go beyond. And I want to make sure that it is clearly understood that the track laying is the most critical part for us. Other ancillary activities like putting a sound barrier sound wall or IPV walls, that will carry on. And people will prioritize now in a sequence that we can build tracks and start testing the technology, the systems, the signaling, the trains. So that's the focus of why we say 2026 is very important for us, is to build tracks. We'll start laying tracks from the south and we'll continue towards the north. And all our contractors have committed to do that. We have some presentation that we'll talk about that Ed will explain. In CP1, we do have one overpass and he will talk about it. That is something that will go into the first quarter of 2027, but it's not standing in the way of track laying. So a lot of activity is going to happen now in 2026. Looking ahead, what's coming up? We will award a contract for track and systems. Our plan is to get that awarded by June of this year. We also would like to have a deal.
Can we please move to the next slide?
Thank you. We also are targeting to award a public-private partnership group the contract by June 2026. It tells you that between now and then, there's a lot of work the team is doing and a lot of coordination with the industry that continues to go on. We will release also the design build procurement for the maintenance facility that is in final stages from the design perspective. We will also move forward with Merced and Bakersfield civil packages in the third quarter of 2026. And then we are also planning to award a contract for Fresno Station at the end of 2026. And we are going to conclude our train set bid evaluation that we started last year by the end of the first quarter of 2026. It's very packed agenda for 2026. A lot of activity, and you see these 5-6 line items behind each. There are hundreds of conversations with the industry partners, and these are contractors, suppliers, builders that they are engaged with us, and we will continue to do that in this year and then leading into the next year. The new thing that we are also launching is the procurement under some sort of public-private partnership for the clean, renewable energy. And so we would like to issue the RFP for a P3-based investor program by the second quarter of 2026. We are also looking at launching the request for expression of interest for tunneling for both sides, Pacheco and Tehachapi's, as a standalone contract. Construction milestones, of course, Ed will talk more about that when he comes up. There are some other things that we talked about for almost since I've been here, maybe the month number 2, legislative actions that we need to support the program. Those are still there. Those need to be resolved. They are listed here. This is not new. This list has been in our supplemental PUR. This has been something that we've been talking about for months. So we do need these to move forward. There's a lot of activity around these topics, both at the administration level and with the legislature, but we have yet to get to final conclusions on each one of them. As I said from the very beginning, if these issues remain in the way, they will continue to impact the program, not in a positive way, for both cost and schedule. We are going to repeat that in our business plan as well. It's critical for the authority to maintain the progress, maintain the certainty in the schedule and cost to get these issues resolved. At this point, I will invite Ed to talk about construction progress. Ed Finn.
Good morning again, Mr. Chair, board members. What we did here is, we tried to provide a kind of an overall depiction of what CEO Ian Chowdhury was explaining to you. So this graphically shows the alignment on the north of our 119 miles of your CP1 on the left, CP23, and CP4 on the right. So if you just understand the time, present time is at the top and then future goes to the bottom. So you have on your vertical axis 2025, 26, 27, 28, et cetera. So that's the way the chart works. And what it shows us on CP4 on the right side, you can see where the Wasco, the southern railhead is. And the black line shows our track length starting in Q4 2026. The intent of this graphic is to show the overall sequence of the construction. And essentially, the way we need to build our track is to access materials through the railhead, which has access to Class 1 railroads. That's how we access our materials, and then track is a very linear construction fashion. So it shows us Q4 2026 construction of track in CP4, taking a bit of a breather and then progressing through CP23 for the bulk of the remainder of 2027. And then you see on the left side of the CP23 graphic between the yellow and the green will be our second railhead, which will be located at the location of the HMF facility, also connected to BNSF. That'll be our second railhead because at that point, we're getting so far away from our southern railhead, it's not economical to move materials that far. So that's when we'll shift to that northern railhead. We will close in the gap going south from that railhead to CP23. And then at that point, we'll have 65 plus 21 miles of track complete. Once we have that tied together, then we'll shift forward north into CP1, and that's kind of the final leg of the 119. And that work, essentially, at that point, it'll be late 2027 into early 28 for track construction. Oversimplified version, but it explains kind of the overall, what Ian was describing. It shows more graphically the sequence of construction for track. Wanted to share that with you. And this is always a work in progress as well, but the overall sequencing won't change. Dates will change when we work with our track and systems contractor.
Ed, I'd like to ask that you forward copies of these slides that you're going over to all the board members.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Any questions, Fred? Thanks.
Thank you.
So going forward, our focus will remain to continue to streamline and optimize infrastructure. Our strategy has not changed from the first month when we assembled our team and we said, where are we driving this program to? It is going to be all based on 3 or 4 key elements: cost optimization, built at the right time, in right places, right size, the program, and then deliver it with a strategy that gets all the obstacles that we face since 2015 out of the way first, and then go build when the ground is ready to build. So we have right sequenced all our approaches to the program. Yes, we do have still some legacy issues from the past. We will continue to work on those. We resolved one today. We will have more of this cleanup that we'll continue to fix. But the future, you will not see any of the past methodologies will ever be repeated. So with that, I have listed here all the accomplishments. I'm not going to go through each one of them. They are here for the record. There are like 52 accomplishments that we did, including hiring our key staff that is about 17 of them. We have 2 or 3 more that we are waiting to get those processed. So at that point, my team will be 100% complete. And at that point, our entire team is going to move towards go build more and get it delivered on time. When we commit, the team is driven and motivated with one thing, which is if we say we're going to go get this done by that date, that's team's decision. They say it, then all what they have to do is they know that they have to deliver to that date. It's a schedule-driven, cost-driven project, almost like a business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Any questions for Mr. Chaudhry? All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have
Yes.
one just to first Ian, thank you for the report. It's pretty impressive, and it's great in meeting the rest of your team today. There's just one thing, I mean, a lot of important information here. Probably the most important for me is page 7. You know, the milestone dates. A lot of dates there, and it's probably useful for staff, especially the new folks that have come on. Obviously, you know, you're interacting with the board of directors here, and everybody's cognizant that we have a close relationship with the legislature, the governor, and CalSTA. You know, so there's a lot of moving pieces here, but the accountability within this structure is to this board. And I just want to share with you at least one member's philosophy or thoughts in terms of how we interact. You know, I know with the previous CEO, I told him the same thing I told Ian when he came on board. As a board member, you know, we will stay in our lane. You know, our lane is policy, and our lane is allocating the resources to you to get your job done. Your job is to execute, okay? Which is why dates like this is something that when I know as a policy member, I have stayed in my lane and done my thing, your job's to execute, that when you tell me you're going to do something, that you do it. And if you go back in our history as an organization, you know, we haven't had a great track record of meeting deadlines, but I know with Ian, that's changed, and that's a good thing. So I just need you to know when you hear me making comments with respect to, well, okay, where are we on this because you told me this, that's where I'm coming from. And I think most of my colleagues would agree, especially if we're going to meet the kind of aggressive timelines that we're looking at here. We have to execute. You have to execute. The only thing specifically I want to mention, and I know I had probably a little bit of a contentious staff meeting with folks back in October for our October meeting, is the one thing I know we all pay attention. When you tell us something, it stays in our heads. And I know a few months back, probably September, we were told that the PDP would be coming out for RFP in January of this year, and it did not. And the nature of my call in October was, well, where is it? Where are we at? And I won't repeat the whole conversation other than to say that we had a good meeting with Ian, Member Camacho and I, and our chair a few weeks ago with respect to some of these things. And we understand sometimes things change, right? So there's some dynamics we can't control, and it will change things. And as we discuss that particular concern that I had, our CEO said, well, look, you know, we're coming May, June, like as he was saying, we're going to be hopefully bringing somebody on board that's going to invest. And they're going to be probably a key stakeholder in defining what that new PDP will be. And that makes sense to me. So he said that RFP will probably come out in May. So in my head now, I have May. So I know you all have a lot of work to do, but I also know that we need to get that RFP done. Ian, am I correct in May that will be coming to us?
So, yes, I mentioned that to you, May and June. And it goes back to the same point we discussed. You're right. It's when the private sector gets in, they will drive the strategy of what the program delivery team will look like. And so our target is to get the private investors in by June. And then so we can release the RFP between May and June. We will have enough time to get these people on board. That's
okay. That's the key, because I mean, everything has to be firing on all cylinders together. And I think we all know that the PDP is a critical piece of that. So to meet these deadlines and to bring these folks on board that with all their money, they have to be working with a PDP that they have confidence in and that has the abilities and skills to move this project forward. Okay, so I just want to be clear on that. And so June is the RFP, and that's when we expect to see it. But thank you, Ian. I really appreciate this report, and I'm excited about where we're headed.
Thank you.
I just want to mention one thing with regards to that, and I fully agree with what you're saying, Director Perea. The one thing I think that we have got to be cognizant of is what Ian said earlier. Whoever is going to join this great venture and invest a substantial amount of money is going to have a lot to say about what we're doing. And so the only thing that I would like to say is to the extent that that may slide with regards to the PDS or whatever we're going to call it then, just keep us advised, because if it slides, I would make draw the conclusion without knowing that it's going to slide because of the discussions going on between the authority and the PPP partner. And they're going to be driven a lot by those discussions, and the timing on this is going to be, in terms of bringing this to the board, is going to be impacted by those discussions. If they go quickly and there's a meeting of the minds between the two, then it's going to come forward. If it's a delay, please make sure that this board knows as soon as you've determined there is a delay. But the expectation today is that without that information, we don't have a cause to think it is delayed.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Is that it?
That's all.
Thank you. Anybody sitting out here and anybody who's listened to this and spent time watching what's happening with this high-speed rail project and this authority, I think what you hear here is a substantial change in the past in terms of moving the project forward. And we all were aware that we needed, when our previous CEO retired, we needed somebody who brought with he or she the experience of having developed and constructed major infrastructure projects and, in our instance, a high-speed rail. So it takes this kind of background and experience and leadership to move this project forward. And I, for one, think we made the right decision. So thank you, Ian.
Mr. Chairman, if I might just add on to that. Yeah, these are hard decisions and this is a tough project. But I think, again, to your point, Mr. Chair, about what the public is seeing and the progress that's being made, there will be fits and starts. It won't be perfect. But I, too, share your confidence in our CEO and his ability to deliver this project and to overcome whatever obstacles we may have. We will hold him accountable, as we had, in the earlier item. But I think the public expects that, and I think our important key stakeholders expect it, and we should expect it of ourselves. And I think, our CEO does expect it of himself. I know his character, and I know we all have, we work through the difficulties, and that's, I'm confident that we'll continue to do that.
Thank you, Director Williams. Any other comments? If not, we will move on then to the next item. And I know that maybe other board members may be getting short of time, and if you need to leave in order to catch flights, please feel free to do so. Item number 4. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Richards and board members. I'm Katrina Blair, and I'm the Chief of Small Business, and I'll be providing an informational update in response to the board's October 20th, 2022 resolution, which directed the authority to report annually on conflict of interest compliance as well as small business compliance. I'll briefly cover the small business portion and then turn it over to Attorney Tanya Southern, who will cover the conflict of interest portion of the presentation. Next slide. Next slide, slide number 3. Okay, so the small business team continues to work with the PDS and other authority primes to ensure that the small business, disabled veteran business enterprise, and disadvantaged business enterprises have opportunities to participate on this project. Although the board approved the revised goal structure in 2023, the PDS must comply with the Small and Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program that was approved in 2012, which established a 30% overall small business goal, inclusive of 10% DBE and 3% DVBE. Next slide. Just as it was last year, payment and utilization are the two areas where the small business compliance team directs their focus. So for monitoring of payments, the PDS Small Business Officer submits proof of payment to all subcontractors, and the small business compliance team verifies that they abide by the prompt payment timelines. And as an added measure of transparency, we also post contractor payment reports on the authority's homepage and small business page. The second area where the team focuses is utilization. So myself, the assistant chief, and the small business advocate, we meet with the PDS Small Business Officer monthly to discuss compliance and the efforts the PDS is making to achieve SB, DVBE, and DBE goals. In this meeting, we discuss strategy, risks, and ways to mitigate those risks. The PDS also provides a monthly narrative that details outreach efforts and the strategies to increase participation and ways in which they can keep their small businesses informed and educated about internal practices such as proper submittal of invoices, timely payments, and jobs being sought on the org chart. This past year has not been without a few challenges as the authority worked with PDS through changes both internally within high-speed rail and externally with the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program that has impacts to the small business program. So for the DBE program, effective October 3rd, the U.S. Department of Transportation issued an interim final rule, which we refer to as the IFR, and it changed the DBE program nationwide. The changes withdrew the criteria of the presumption of disadvantage, which is a qualifier for a firm to be certified as a DBE. Additionally, the IFR requires that all currently certified DBEs seek recertification under the new criteria. During the pendency of the DBE certification revalidation process, the IFR prohibits federal funding recipients like the authority from counting DBE participation and from placing goals on its contracts. The IFR did not instruct recipients to make changes to the contracts already executed. However, I've worked closely with our legal team to make sure adjustments to the contract language for current solicitations and contracts moving forward. Because we anticipate the DBE goals to be restored in the future, the DBE goal language is still included along with the language from the IFR indicating the goals and the tracking are both paused. So what have we done to adjust to this change? All authority primes have been notified that DBE goals have been paused until further notice. The expectation is that primes will still follow the regulation in the Small Business Program Plan as it relates to DBE substitution and termination. And because we're not a certifying agency, we are waiting for the DBE recipients under the California Unified Certification Program, which includes Caltrans, to revise the certification criteria. We've also given PDS and other primes the option to switch crediting to small business and or DVBE until the DBE criteria has been developed by the CUCP. The other challenge that we faced is the PDS optimization. Continued optimization efforts have reduced the PDS budget and staff resources, which ultimately impacted SB, DVBE, and DBE firms. However, PDS has been able to continue exceeding the small business and DBE participation goals. Next slide. During my last report out in January 2025, the PDS was doing well with their small business and disadvantaged business enterprise numbers. The pain point for the PDS was their DVBE numbers. As you can see here, they were at 1.09% DVBE. Next slide. This past year, we challenged them to increase their disabled veteran business enterprise percentages, and they increased their DVBE from 1.9 to 2.17. We're continuing to challenge them to meet or exceed the goal before the end of their contract term in October. PDS has implemented a plan of action and are taking measures to ensure open positions are first extended to DVBE firms Additionally, they have increased their support and engagement initiatives by opening 37 new DVBE eligible positions. They've also partnered with a volunteer organization, Ohana Vets, to provide training to DVBE firms and strengthen technical compliance and operational readiness. Other ways in which they support all of their firms is with certification support, active outreach and engagement. They identify barriers such as the complexities of certification and lack of awareness and readiness gaps. They've also simplified onboarding and their participation process where possible. So my team has made significant strides with PDS, and we maintain a successful partnership. And we're looking forward to continuing this partnership and assisting them with efforts to increase participation. This concludes my portion of the presentation, and I'll be happy to take any questions before I turn it over to Tanya.
Thank you, Katrina.
I
Any
know
question? Any
we're
question?
short on time,
Yeah.
but I do have a question that I wanted. So you mentioned that the interim final rule is paused by the federal government. They're doing whatever they're doing, dismantle things.
Yes.
It was a little unclear to me what ability we have to continue to encourage DBE participation in the project. And so can you just repeat that? You've encouraged our generals to continue, but how, if we have businesses that are awaiting certification, how do we continue to encourage that participation and accommodate those businesses that may be awaiting certification, but can't get it because things are on pause?
Right. So our contracts that are in place, so all the DBE firms that are already in place, we don't touch those contracts according to the IFR. And so we still expect our primes to operate in accordance to the federal regulation and not terminate those firms and under any certain circumstances without just cause. But for new firms, we're encouraging primes to just switch over their certification to the California certification for small business, or for a small business for personal small business for the purpose of public works, which has a higher threshold.
As opposed to transportation.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
as opposed to the DBE.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, quick.
Yes, please go ahead.
This does not impact, it may impact small minority businesses, but it doesn't impact the veteran-owned businesses, correct?
No, that's a state certification, so it's protected. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, this
Yes.
question may not fit here, but we're talking about small business. That public comment that we had earlier where the individual indicated that some small businesses, they're being required to pay all their money back immediately and it could put them out of business. I hope somebody heard that, and
Yeah.
I'd like some type of report of whether is that really true, and if so, what is it we can do to not hurt these businesses?
Yeah, sometimes earlier this year, and Tanya can kind of chime in. I kind of briefly mentioned our optimization. And so we have some firms that have been impacted due to the optimization. So we had to release some firms. But the issue that she was talking about in terms of the money that they have to pay back, it's due to the audits. The auditing that was performed by our chief auditor. And when there's findings of overpayments and things of that nature, then the expectation is that that money is paid back. We consult with the prime contractor, but quite naturally, the subcontractors are impacted if they've been identified as exceeding the rates. So Tanya, did you want to?
Yeah, but the issue, if I heard it correctly, was that they're demanded to pay it back all immediately. Is that true?
I'm not sure about the timelines for immediate payment. As far as I know, we're working with the small businesses.
So as you know, and it's been reported.
Can you speak in the mic, please?
I'm sorry. As you know, and it's been reported to the Board and Finance and Audit Committee before for other audits, the auditors led by the chief auditor performs compliance audits as mandated by their roles. They have to double check that all the issues and terms and conditions in the contract have been properly followed. So there is, under auditing, they follow their audit standards and those guidances. So they ensure that they follow their own rules and requirements. However, once an audit is final and it's been reported, there is an opportunity for small businesses or other businesses, including the prime, to address a committee that is already in place or when there are issues that need to be raised or elevated. So we have encouraged certain firms, advise them of that ability, and it is, predominantly 3 executive level positions, and there's more flexibility. So in the auditing, there are standards and not flexibility. They have to follow their rules. So for the process, I think you're asking, do we have some flexibility after the audit? The authority can decide to have some flexibility with the recouping of the funds or how that payment would be made back.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if this board needs to take a position on that, but I don't think we should be in the business of putting anybody out of business. So if we're doing that to anybody, I think we need to stop. But if you need board direction, I think you need to ask us for adjustment to that policy. Because if they owe the money, they owe the money. That we understand that, but we shouldn't be hurting them to the extent that they go out of business.
Yeah, I would just caution, there are a lot of facts-based issues. So I think as long as we have the flexibility, we could address concerns. And if there are concerns, we could also apprise the board, especially for small business related entities.
Could we get a report from you on who is in that zone right now that you're dealing with and how much they owe and what the discussions are related to their
If
payback?
it's okay, can I ask Paula Rivera's team to do that, and I can support whatever.
Sure. Whoever.
She would be the one. I don't want to give you inaccurate information, but I'm happy to support it.
Do we have any additional questions before I turn it over to Tanya?
No.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would ask, Paula is here if you wanted to address, or would you just like to wait later? I saw her coming up. Did you have any questions for Paula, or do you want to say that?
I'd rather let her have time to get whatever together that the Director Perez is asking for.
I just wanted to acknowledge that she was here if you
thank
did
you.
need to.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, this is my 3rd annual update to the board. Everyone knows I get nervous every year, so I'm trying to speak a little slowly and make sure my voice doesn't get even higher. We are under a time crunch, so I'll try to make it a little fast. So this is the contract for program delivery support. As we know, there were some conflict of interest issues that the board was concerned about. So we implemented a second layer of conflict requirements and reporting. So the first level is that we have our standard organizational conflict of interest requirements that is in every authority contract. And then for this contract with AECom Floor, we have a second level of requirements called a conflict mitigation plan, and it identifies measures that were put in place at the initial portion of the contract, and we monitor and have reporting requirements quarterly and as necessary. This is our 3rd update. We first reported in December of 2023. The second one was in Fresno last year in January of 2024. And we are diligently still working with AECom and Floor to ensure that all of the board's concerns were addressed and that all of the potential or actual conflicts of interest are addressed during the management of the contract. First thing with the plan, it does, as I said, require quarterly reporting. And then it also requires supplemental reports for any specific potential or actual conflicts that are identified as the contract progresses. To date, there have been 10 supplemental reports and quarterly reports that also have been filed in compliance with the plan. We work closely with the attorneys and for AECom and Floor, and also keep our contract manager and staff apprised. The mitigation plan, as we have here, requires the identification of key personnel and additional expertise resources, and if necessary, ensures that necessary mitigation measures are put in place. AECom Floor joint venture continues to update this information and track all personnel changes, and we work closely with them to ensure that all the individuals on the project, as well as entities, have any potential or actual conflicts addressed early on before they come aboard. The plan requires reporting the relationships of each of the consultant staff. The plan requires identification of measures that are in place, and if there are any mitigation, we also require individual teams and other necessary measures that would ensure that the authority receives the best work product and work from our consultant free of unfair or disadvantaged due to conflicts. Next slide, please. A description of how the PDS will control the information relative to the authority's operations and strategy are also included in the plan. AECom and Floor continue to implement security controls and tracking of these issues that can arise during the management of the contract. They have been utilizing project-specific servers and separate cloud environments. The process implemented to promote awareness and to instruct staff on the importance of impartiality and preventing the roles of any bias, fraud, waste, and abuse includes ethic trainings. AECom and Floor continue to take steps to ensure we are aware of that they are aware of the plan, the requirements of the plan, and their obligations and responsibilities under the plan. PDS also has implemented a live web-based conflict of interest training specific to this project, and the consultants process to assess the effectiveness of the plan and address address issues and other issues that can arise during the PDS management of this contract, and they also have their attorneys closely engaged with the authorities counsel to ensure that we do not arrive at any actual conflicts. Next slide, please. So finally, we can report to the board that the authority and AECom Floor are committed and continue to be committed to ensuring that all potential and or actual conflict of interest issues are immediately addressed as they are identified. Once identified, the authority and AECom Floor staff and attorneys continue to work collaboratively with the authority staff, and they also help to implement mitigation measures that sufficiently address potential and or conflict of interest issues. To date, we have agreed on mitigation measures for certain key personnel and additional expertise resources on the project, as well as related projects. One of the key issues is, environmental, NEPA, and or CEQA issues. Our PDS consultant is integral to our NEPA assignment work, so we have to pay close attention to any related work in the state or outside that can impact that. We also have some projects that the authority will be either touching or working with, and that's another area that's one of the key issues that we always address through these supplemental reports and quarterly reports. And just want to assure the board that we continue to take the conflict requirements seriously, and I look forward to any questions if you have. Although I do note that board member Scutia did leave, so she asked a lot of questions last year.
Do we have any questions for Tanya today? You did a great job last year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Next year I'll be even better. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. Colleagues, we're now moving to item number 5, Economic Impact Report from High Speed Rail Authority Investments.
Thank you, Chair Richards and board members. My name is Derek Boughton. I'm the reporting branch chief at the authority. We're here today. Also with me is Pierre Blaine, KPMG's managing director and our head of our economics team for KPMG. He'll be presenting with us as well. So what we're doing today is updating the annual economic impact report. We're also highlighting this year the societal economic benefits. In the past, we've presented this to the board a few years ago, but we're now going to try to do a better job, more consistent job of presenting these to the board each year that highlights the operational benefits of the program. So I will highlight the economic benefits of the investment to date, or as of June of 2025. And then Pierre will go over the societal economic benefits for operational benefits. Next slide. So we've analyzed now almost 20 years worth of investment and expenditures of this project. So since July of 2006 through June of 2025, so 19 years worth. For the last fiscal year alone, we've supported over 13,000 job years and also generated $2.9 billion in total economic activity just in one fiscal year. So over the last 19 years, we're at almost 122,000 jobs supported with $9.5 billion in labor income and $24.6 billion in total economic output. And also after Pierre presents, we'll go over a quick walkthrough of our newly created public benefits of the High Speed Rail webpage that's now on the Build HSR site. That kind of shows where these societal benefits occur throughout the state and the impacts up and down our alignment. Next slide. So what we've analyzed so far is $14.6 billion of investment again since 2006. Last year's investment was $1.5 billion, which is what we use as the input for our economic model. Next slide. So we've now supported over 122,000 or almost 122,000 job years over the last 19 years with 13,200 coming last year alone. Again, that's, you heard from the public comments say just how impactful it is to small businesses and the length of time that this project has supported these investments. And this kind of shows you, again, over 19 years worth of investments in the state and through Central Valley in particular, it's a lot of small business impacted. So 120,000 jobs supported is a massive number that we're proud of to increase every year. Next slide. Labor income. We're up to $9.5 billion now in labor income since 2006. Next slide. And then the large number, the kind of GDP equivalent, the economic output, we're up to over $24 billion worth of economic output, again, since 2006 through June of 2025. And last year alone was $2.8 billion worth of impact. And then next slide. So also something new for this year, we've added a new metric, which is the total tax revenue impact. That includes federal, state, and local taxes and from economic activities stimulated by our investment, which includes sales and use tax, property tax, income taxes, and personal taxes. So it's another metric that we're capturing now going forward. This number is only for one fiscal year because we can't go backwards in time due to a lot of variations in the in-plan modeling software. So every year now we'll be capturing this going forward. Next slide. So this is the slide that shows the breakdown of the impacts by region, continuing the trend of obviously the Central Valley being the most impacted region right now economically. And it breaks it down into the Southern California, Sacramento, and then Bay Area. I won't go through all the numbers because there's a lot of them, but as you can tell, every year it grows larger impacts. Again, Central Valley is the main economic driver of this project so far. Next slide. So our projected future impacts through construction completion. For phase one, we're estimating 890,000 job years supported. Labor income of $70 billion, a total economic output of $192 billion for the construction of phase one. And then total tax revenue of $27.6 billion estimated. And then, so if you guys don't have any questions, I can answer questions now, or we can have Pierre jump into the societal benefits. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm really happy to be here to present our discussion of societal economic benefits. I've had the pleasure of being involved in calculating these and producing these reports for all of the economic benefits, actually, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to be talking today about the societal economic benefits, which are really different from what Derek Boughton has just described that are tied to construction. These are the benefits that are tied to the service itself once it's operating, and specifically users, the people who take the service, but also the rest of society as a whole. This is usually the approach that's taken to measure the benefits of an infrastructure such as high-speed rail. And while we have not presented these in this setting so far, these analyses have actually figured quite prominently in all of the high-speed rail, many of the high-speed rail grant applications over a number of years. Next slide, please. So the sort of the marquee number that I want to start off by talking about is really that if we take the phase one service, once it's operating, and we look over 30 years, which is kind of the typical way these analyses are done, 30 years of operation, and we total up these benefits, which can all be, the ones we're talking about here can all be monetized. It can be transferred from things like travel times into dollar values, which makes it easy to summarize. We get to $160 billion over 30 years for the service as a whole. So what's it made of? It's made for about half of it are these direct user benefits that I mentioned. So these are what you would expect if you're looking at what's the benefit of high-speed rail. They are travel time savings for these users, reliability. A trip on high-speed rail is more reliable than other modes typically, and that can be measured and quantified. These users also save vehicle operating costs if they're shifting out of their car, which is most of them are projected to be coming from car. That trip from on high-speed rail will no longer incur vehicle operating costs. And then there's also an important aspect, which is the experience of being on high-speed rail, which can be measured, which can be monetized. It's the rail car itself, the station, all of these aspects of the trip also go into this benefit for the users. If you could go to the next slide, please. Then there's also another, a whole other dimension to these benefits, which are the benefits that accrue to society as a whole. And so the main ones here are environmental benefits, in particular from the reduction of emissions, safety. Safety is also a part of the user benefit, but we can also think of it as an overall social benefit. And I would say that while all of these benefits that we're talking about are future benefits for the most part, there are aspects of the program which are already generating safety benefits and have been for a couple of years, and that's through the upgrade of intersections, which have already started to yield a safety payoff for the public. Could we go on to the next slide, please? So a very important aspect of any intercity rail, and one that up until recently was very hard to actually get a measure, like a dollar metric, and really understand more than just simply in a sort of conceptual sense. And this is what we refer to as wider economic benefits, which is you have a high-speed rail system between, say, San Francisco and LA. You're going to be adding a lot of connectivity to certain types of businesses, certain types of occupations that greatly benefit from that service. If you travel on high-speed rail in Europe, if you travel on high-speed rail on the Acela in the Northeast corridor, and you do so particularly during the peak hours, you know immediately what that means by just looking at who's on the train. You can tell that it's got a overwhelmingly business-oriented market during those hours. So there's these wider economic benefits are generally seen and have been documented to generate benefits for certain types of workers. Not all workers benefit from face-to-face interaction. But for those who do, it can be significant. And from the firms that employ them, the profit impact can be significant as well. During our work for the authority, we were able to develop estimates of this from essentially looking at what happened on the Acela when the Acela system was introduced on the Northeast Corridor, and use those estimates and factor them as future benefits for high-speed rail. Now, I want to say that while the numbers are important, it's also a benefit that we're not being overly aggressive in imputing it to a large number of workers. We're really keeping it to specifically the occupations and industries that have been documented not just in the US, but in other countries to benefit from this connectivity. Could we go on to the next slide, please? So a couple of other societal benefits that we've quantified and included into the reporting of future high-speed rail benefits for California. And these have included freight efficiency. We expect freight efficiency from reducing conflict on shared lines. Once the Amtrak service will no longer be sharing it with freight, there will be some higher capacity that freight operators will benefit from, and we've quantified that. We have also quantified things that are typical of projects such as this, such as the reduction in noise, the reduction in congestion on the overall road network, and as well as pavement wear and tear. One final aspect of these benefits, which we talk about in a lot of our in a lot of our reporting, but don't quantify, is network resiliency, and that I think is something we all think that's something that needs to be that needs to be remembered and mentioned. Although quantifying that particular aspect is still something that is the sort of the social science is not quite there yet. So we've just talked about it qualitatively. So just to wrap up, I would say next slide, but I'll just wrap up very, very quickly. In terms of, in our report, we basically give you a table listing all of these benefits. So I invite you to take a look at them, and you can see how you get to that 160 billion over 30 years. But I will say also, in terms of taking those benefits of the service and comparing them to the costs, which is what's fundamental to the benefit cost analysis that you have to take on to do, let's say, an application for specific types of grants, and generally to be able to demonstrate that your project is socially profitable. What we have found typically for the high-speed rail system, the cost to benefits, the benefits to costs have been over 2. The last time with the most updated numbers that we published for the FSP grant, they were 2.1, which means you usually need to be able to demonstrate that you're over 1. That the societal benefits are higher than the cost. For the high-speed rail program, they're comfortably above the cost. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Is 2.1 something you see in a very unusual sense, or is it common?
It really depends on the project. You want to be able to show that it's over 1.
Yeah.
For high-speed rail, you've tended to see benefits that are, if they're over 1, which you hope that they are, they don't tend to be within the 5, 6, 7 range, which is extremely high for an infrastructure project,
Okay.
just because of the nature of the
Yeah,
project.
that's what I wanted to know. Okay. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Okay, Justin, if we could go to the public benefits of the California High Speed Rail page. Okay, we're just going to briefly highlight this. This is something that Aaron Sprecher of my team and our comms and IT team of the authority really did well to put together the last couple of weeks. So what this webpage does now, which is on the Build HSR site, is go through the societal economic benefits and kind of throw them an interactive map, so you can kind of drill down and see where these benefits are coming from and where they're hitting in the state. And then so this is the main splash page, right, which shows the numbers that Pierre was referencing earlier on the legend on the left-hand side, obviously overlaid with our alignment. And then if we can go to the travel or the wage and property tab, there we go. So this one here shows the wage lift. Again, I'm not gonna go through all the numbers, just kind of to highlight the heat map viewpoints of where these impacts are hitting. Obviously, the Central Valley, Southern California, and the Bay are the main beneficiaries of these benefits. But you'll see if you drill down into some of these other areas that impacts, throughout California, and not just the direct users. All right, so we go to travel. Again, this is travel time savings. These are massive amounts of time savings, which is part of the reason for building this whole project, is to save time, to shrink the distances between San Francisco to LA via time. So we calculate those estimates there, and again, the terminuses are where the main savings are occurred. And then we go to safety. Again, this is the safety view. So this is the traffic accidents reduced, again, all through our improvements of grade crossings and making the rail lines more efficient and safer. So again, there's a lot of options to go through and drill through. So please, if you're interested, just go to the Build HSR site, and it'll be one of the maps there, and we'll update this every year. Any questions on the map?
Can you forward those slides to us?
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
those.
We can
Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
Please, did you say,
Appreciate it.
We can
yeah,
send
you
you
said
the
that,
website.
you said they're on the
So
website?
they're on our.
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
Just forward me that link then.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
just-
that'd be great.
There's
for
a lot
all
on the
of us. It'd be
website
helpful.
right now.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great.
Derek, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
In the absence of the Finance and Audit Committee meeting today, I've asked our CFO to give us a 5-minute brief of,
Two.
what, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you very much, Jamie, and we'll see you later. No,
Thank
please. No answers either. So, all right, Derek. All right, Jamie, sorry.
Okay, let me jump right in then. So our cash position is a robust, strong $4 billion currently. It does not contain yet the November 2025 auction proceeds that are $211 million. We're waiting for the state to issue the executive order to receive those funds. I'm also happy to report that our disputes with our contractors have decreased to 104 million from a peak in June 2025 of 306 million. It's a 66% reduction. Our administrative budget remains the same. We have spent $6.9 million against that through 5 reporting periods, and our vacancy rate is 24.9%. We have 386 filled positions of the 514 authorized. On the capital side, we spent $163 million for the month, mostly in our design build packages. CP1 was at 30 million, CP23 was at 94.3 million, and we had 0 for CP4. All other categories accounted for 45.6 million. Our total expenditures to date are at 15.3 million. 83.2% of that is state funded, 16% as federally funded. We will be updating our reports in the next month to reflect the rescission of 2 federal grants. So we're processing those currently. Also, in addition, we have 199 active contracts. And as far as our small business utilization metrics we are at 25.1% of our pre-November 2023 small business goal, which is up 1.2% year over year. And our post-November 2023 goal, we are at 25.8%, which is 0.8% higher than target. We are also exceeding our disadvantaged business enterprises and disabled veteran business enterprises pre-November 2023 goals. We have 974 small businesses actively working on the project. That is 13 more since we last reported. And we had some contingency usage during the reporting period of approximately 1.6 million. There were 4 change orders in the CP1 project. The largest one was for 1.2 million to compensate the contractor for increased construction work on a water main between Fresno and G Street due to a redesign. The other 3 were smaller, combined $400,000 to compensate the contractor for increased work on utility relocations at Pine Avenue, West Avenue, and McKinley Street. That covers the report for today in a short 2 minutes.
All right. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but it's just a request for follow-up on some, because that 24% vacancy rate sounded pretty high to me. I don't know. I'd just like to see kind of what that's been over the last several years, 5 years, let's say.
Absolutely. I can provide you some information on that because just last year we did get 70 new positions through the budget. So part of that is trying to fill those positions. Yeah.
Yeah. So it goes up and down. Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have a job here.
And the right of way and utility relocation parcels, seems like we're moving.
Yeah, we actually have a nice update to provide to you. Remember,
Yeah.
this report's as of November, which showed 10 remaining.
Right.
Now, today, we're down to 4.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your attention. Thanks for hanging in here with us, and we will see you in February. No, we'll see you in March. Yeah. So the meeting's adjourned. Thanks again.